All right, let's talk about a true masterclass in modern disaster, Fyre Festival. This is the wild story of how a con artist and a rapper used Instagram hype to sell a complete catastrophe to some of the world's most beautiful people. So the pitch? It was dead simple. They built it on these huge fantasy words: exclusive, paradise, luxury, an untouched utopia just for the social media elite. But the reality, well, it was less paradise and a lot more like a post-apocalyptic campground with wet tents. Yeah. See, the whole promise was this escape for the beautiful and influential. A members-only party that felt so exclusive it was almost impossible to even get into. And what did the chosen few get for their money? A meal so pathetic it became an international meme. It was, the perfect symbol for the entire disaster. So how on earth did co-founders, Billy McFarland, a guy who was basically a professional overpromiser, and the rapper Ja Rule, actually convince people to buy into this impossible dream? It all kicked off with this moment of pure digital genius, or, deception. Just a single, plain orange tile blasted out at the exact same time by hundreds of the world's biggest influencers. They literally weaponized FOMO, the fear of missing out, on an industrial scale.
And look, they didn't just hire any influencers. They hired a digital royal family. We're talking supermodels and celebrities all paid a ton of money to post that orange square right next to promo footage of them partying on what looked like the most perfect private beach imaginable.
And if you really want to understand the scale of this, just look at this number. Kendall Jenner was reportedly paid over $250,000 for one Instagram post. And, like most of the others involved, she apparently broke federal law by not telling anyone it was a paid ad. Whoops. And the craziest part? It worked. Tickets, some of them costing up to $12,000, completely sold out. But behind that perfect social media campaign, the entire operation was already, a complete and total mess. Okay, so the first massive lie was the location itself. They were advertising this private island once owned by Pablo Escobar for that edgy vibe, right? But they got kicked off for even using his name. Instead of telling anyone, they just found a new, half-finished construction site and basically pretended it was the same place. Industry experts, people who actually do this for a living, told McFarland a festival this big takes over a year to plan. He gave his team less than 6 months, and that's after they'd already lost their first island. This wasn't just ambitious, it was completely delusional. And this one quote, it says everything you need to know. When they were faced with total logistical collapse and were told to postpone, this was the response. They weren't building a festival, they were chasing a legend, no matter what it cost. And that brings us to the moment of impact, the day the first guests arrived, expecting actual paradise, and instead walked straight into a disaster zone. The first major public sign that something was very, very wrong. The headliner, Blink-182, pulled out just hours before the show. Their statement said they couldn't guarantee a quality performance. Turns out the organizers couldn't even guarantee a stage. This right here became the defining image of the whole thing. Guests were promised these luxury villas and cool geodesic domes. What they got was a mad scramble for leftover disaster relief tents, most of which had rain-soaked mattresses inside. And those gourmet meals from celebrity chefs? Yeah, they got this: 2 slices of cheese on bread in a foam box. Oh, but the chaos was just getting started. With no staff or security, everyone's luggage was just dumped out of a shipping container in the middle of the night. When people tried to leave, they were reportedly locked in the airport without food or water. This wasn't just a bad party. It was basically a luxury version of Lord of the Flies. So, as these photos of total chaos started hitting Twitter and Instagram, the world just sat back and watched in a state of pure schadenfreude. The party was officially over, and the legal and financial reckoning was just getting started. And you better believe the lawsuits came in fast and furious. We're talking at least 8 of them, including a massive class action suit looking for over $100 million. Subtly, McFarland was getting sued not just by the guests he stranded, but by the very investors he tricked into funding the whole mess. So when all was said and done, Billy McFarland took the fall. He pleaded guilty to over $26 million in fraud. But his celebrity partner, Ja Rule, He was cleared in the lawsuit. A judge basically decided you couldn't legally prove his Instagram posts were the direct reason people bought their tickets. And you gotta love the irony here. It's almost poetic. The guy who sold a dream of infinite luxury was left with a negative net worth of $26 million, the exact amount he was ordered to pay back. A pretty staggering fall from magazine covers to a federal prison cell. The tents are long gone and the lawsuits are mostly settled, but the legend of Fyre Festival just lives on. So what's the real lesson we're supposed to take away from this masterclass in failure? I mean, Fyre really became the ultimate cautionary tale for our internet age, right? It just ripped the mask off influencer marketing, it showed the raw, terrifying power of FOMO, and it proved once and for all, if it looks way too good to be true on Instagram, it absolutely 100% is. And then, in what has to be the most unbelievably audacious twist imaginable, after getting out of prison, Billy McFarland announced this, which really leaves just one burning question. Who on earth is buying a ticket for the sequel?